This is Congru, and I am here with my very good friend. Do you want to introduce yourself?
Hi, this is Sacha Allari from the Zedeos Gang channel. We haven't been online for about a year and a half, but we're looking to make our triumphant return. Thank you for being on the channel, John.
Oh, that's cool, man. It's cool. It's always nice chatting about movie stuff, mostly Star Wars, obviously. You know how I do. Um, so yeah, I want to get right into the stories because there's been some funny stories this week. Namely, there was firstly, should I say, there was a leak on Saltier Than Crate Reddit from some unknown guy who was basically saying basically the whole reason why the Rise of the Skywalker is the way it is because Disney meddling, and JJ wanted certain things the way he wanted it, but he was overruled. He wasn't allowed to do it in the end. Have you read that story? What did you think of that?
Yeah, I read it. It comes from an anonymous Reddit post.
Yeah, some unknown guy, definitely.
Yeah. Um, I know there's been a lot of speculation into this all over the interwebs, like past couple of days over it. I mean, whether it's true, whether it's not true. I mean, there are a lot of points in there that make sense, but then a lot of the stuff that they're highlighting, you would cut out of a movie anyway if you're going to make a 2 hour, 2.5 hour runtime from any studio. So, I mean, the stuff that they cut. I think by what the posts are saying off of Reddit are stuff anyone would have cut out of any movie really, um, and
That's the thing as
yeah,
well. Like nothing in that sort of report that this guy did. Like none of the scenes that he was talking about actually changed the scenes much. Like they really didn't. Like there was nothing new added. They were just extended versions of the scenes that we got anyway.
yeah. I mean, that's just right. I mean, like none of it changes the plot in any way. I mean, I guess the stuff with Lando and what's it, the girl being his daughter, that would have
Jana.
added more dimension and stuff. But I mean, aside from that, it's still the same movie, and I'd still have a problem with it.
That's the thing, right? It's still the same movie. And what I'd say about the meddling, I don't think the meddling from Disney. I think there was meddling from Disney, should I say? But I don't think the meddling from Disney was to spite JJ or like to give him a bad rep or anything like that. I think that's a bit silly. I think that's an agenda being driven by someone from JJ's camp, maybe. But what JJ wanted to tell, he ultimately got to tell, and maybe it was cut down a little bit, and that was about it.
Yeah, I mean, like you can tell he was kind of forced to put in Palpatine there, but it's
Oh yeah,
I,
you could blame
for
Ryan
the
Johnson for
record,
that.
I've not. But yeah, for the record, I've not really spoke that much about this movie. I've been very subtle, but yeah,
Yeah, what do you think about this movie? Actually, that's one thing because obviously I haven't watched it yet. I
yeah,
I refuse to watch it at the minute. I'm not really. I don't really
okay,
want to watch it in a minute. So
okay.
what do you
So
think about it?
no spoilers, no spoilers. Even though I've just like said something, but that's all adamant in the trailers. I just think, in general, it's not a bad film. It's not a bad ride. It does feel like two films in one. Um, if you're judging it on the film itself, it's a cool ride, and if you love The Force Awakens, it's a cool sequel to The Force Awakens. If you're a hardcore Star Wars head like myself, it makes a few choices in it that was so much of a left turn that I was just like, no, I'm done. Like, nah. I don't blame J.J. Abrams. I don't blame Disney. I blame Ryan Johnson ultimately because of, what he did with The Last Jedi. There was a lot of like turns in that movie
Yeah,
that
sure.
resulted into the the movie that we have now. And I just think even if it was you could have had any filmmaker join this project and they still would have been fucked basically. Disney wanted to appease all camps, and that's fair enough for them because they've got a lot of dollars in stake here, and they're a big billion-dollar company, so of course they want to get everyone to love their movie that they're bringing out. But ultimately, to cram it all in one film, I think was a big no-no, and I think they could have saved it if they put it over two movies, because
What
realistic.
What?
you
Yeah, go
get
on.
to love the new cast in this movie, but again, you don't really go anywhere. But that's just my thoughts on the movie.
Saying that, why do you think Disney didn't want a two part a two-parter on this? Like, what is the reasoning to only do a one movie of, like, because like obviously it's happened with Avengers, it's happened with Harry Potter, like it does happen. It happened with Lord of the Rings, if I remember correctly. Like it happens. So why do you think Disney didn't want to do a two movies on this?
I really don't know, man. That's a real head scratcher. I mean, I guess that kind of lends credence to some of the stuff the report's saying, if that makes sense. I mean, but it doesn't, it still makes no sense. I mean,
It really
they
doesn't.
just should have, they're in it for money and the franchise. They easily had a whole other movie there. If they wanted to introduce Palpatine, they could have done it in a more organic way that didn't shortchange stuff that has gone before. That's how I felt about the film, by the way. But
Yeah,
yeah, yeah, I'm going to try not to spoil it because I don't really want to get into the who's and the whats and the whys. But I don't know. Sure, they have an agenda for sure. But, they're a bloody movie studio. All movie studios kind of do. Fox were renowned for doing that. You know, um, Warner Brothers as well. Every studio has like something, but Disney, yeah, sure, sure. It wouldn't surprise me, but at the same time, this, like you said, this post showed up on a Reddit forum, so I
yeah,
could have wrote it. I
yeah,
could have wrote it as far as I'm concerned, and yeah, it is what it is. I guess people are reacting, and
yeah,
there's a lot of hardcore Star Wars fans that don't like the movie, but it's gained the interest of the casual audience and people that are into this trilogy and stuff, and at least somebody likes the movie, I guess. So, and that's all anyone can think of when you make a movie, that someone out there will like it. I for
sure.
one aren't, but yeah, we'll see what happens.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it is weird that they didn't go two parts on this, knowing how convoluted the story actually got in a one movie in 2 hours and 20 minutes. So yeah, that is a weird one, but yeah, take that sort of Reddit post with a pinch of salt. I'd say I would definitely say there was meddling, but there's always sort of corporate slash Disney meddling in their IPs. So I'm not really fussed about that one. But it is a nice lead into the next thing that I want to talk about, which was we had all of these reports that there was a George Lucas cut. Obviously now there's hashtag release the JJ cut. That's sort of trending now. And also Colin Trevorrow had his own ideas about how he wanted to take it. I don't know. Have you heard what Colin Trevorrow wanted to do?
Yeah, I've heard loads of stuff about that before the movie was even. This current film, he's credited as a screenwriter, so they probably took a lot of ideas that he had anyway and threw it in there. Um, and third, in the trailer, this isn't spoiler movie, it's in the trailer, but you see the Death Star wreckage like on the planet there.
Yeah,
I mean, that's all stuff from straight out of the Force Awakens making of, and that was based on Lucas's draft of ideas of it was one of the ideas he had on
yeah.
7, 8, and 9.
Apparently he wanted
So
an underwater sort of
yeah,
yeah, adventure
planet,
of
yeah.
the Death Star at
Yeah,
some point.
so I mean, there was a lot borrowed to make this movie to, appease everyone, I guess. Whether there were three different cuts of the film, well, again, another Reddit source. No, there is no telling. There's no telling, to be honest. There's nothing. There's nothing concrete with what this information is, other than stuff was cut. Like I said, stuff was cut from this movie, same as any movie. You know what
Sure.
I mean?
So
I
so
remember
was
George Lucas had a 4 hour cut of Revenge of the Sith,
oh
and
shit.
only recently, Nick Golland, I think his name is, who was the fight choreographer for the prequels. He did the Darth Maul fight in Episode One, The Phantom Menace. But he said the best lightsaber fight in the whole saga has been filmed but never finished, and it apparently was at the start of Revenge of the Sith, and Obi-Wan takes down a couple of General Grievous's guards.
Oh,
basically. And apparently
oh
that
wow,
was
I've
meant to
never
be
heard of that.
better than anything they did with Darth Maul in terms of the stunt choreography and everything. And he said that he was getting a lot of his ideas from Yun Yu Ping movies and Jet Li movies and stuff like that. And I was just like, oh my god, even if it's like been filmed, at least finish it as a deleted scene, because like sometimes you get like a deleted scenes that fans would just go nuts and want to see it. Yeah, sure.
Yeah, I
I
would
want
love
to
an
see it.
extended Revenge of the Sith cut. I would love
Yeah,
that, to be honest.
to be honest, I don't think we'll get one because George Lucas, when he did the prequels, he had complete control all over them, and he was very satisfied with the movies that and still is. He's very proud of the movies he put out, regardless of what some fans think. I mean, me, I've always, I'm an original trilogy kind of guy. I'm not in love with the prequels, but I respect them because they came from George. You know what I mean? Like, I won't overly poo poo on them because I'm a big Star Wars fan. But
You know, I love the
um,
prequel trilogies,
yeah, I
man.
know you do, man. I know you do, buddy. But it's people like yourself would really want to see that. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
And
for sure,
of
for
course you
sure.
do. But I don't think there was anything like that in this movie. You know what I mean? That
Was
would have changed the movie completely or
no,
whatnot. Maybe a
no.
little bit.
Interestingly,
I mean,
was George Lucas credited as? Did he get a writing credit for the Rise of the Skywalker?
no,
Oh, okay,
just like he always does, create a credit off the shit, just for the
okay,
sake of,
okay.
which means he probably didn't have that much to do with this movie at all. I mean, like, sure they took a couple of his ideas and stuff, but he didn't write the script. That's all down to Chris Terrio, Justice League's Chris Terrio, and Batman versus Superman's Chris Terrio, I might add.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah,
fair enough. He wrote Argo, and Argo's a fantastic movie, and he's done a lot of cool independent movies. But when it comes to the big blockbuster stuff,
yeah.
okay, Chris.
He's very he's more missed than hit. Let's just put it that way. He's definitely more missed than hit. So yeah,
Yeah, definitely.
are we gonna throw out that there's any extra cuts that there? Maybe an extended JJ cut, probably, but a Trevorrow cut or
Maybe. I mean, maybe. I think he's unhappy with the movie with some decisions, maybe because we're hearing loads of stuff on the backlash of this,
yeah, he's
and
come out himself, hasn't he? So
yeah,
he's
so
definitely said
so
stuff.
maybe he wants to do a George Lucas special edition, but it or a JJ special edition, but it all depends on where he sits as a director about is the final cut of the final cut of the movie, because you get some directors like Martin Scorsese and stuff, and they don't do director's cuts. They do, they that's the cut. That is the cut. That is what we came out. That's what we intended and stuff. And respect to those directors that think that, because that's how filmmaking is sometimes. But you have filmmakers that probably had a lot of pressure from studios to release it a certain way, and they feel like they need to show what they need to put out, and that's fine as well. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like,
sure, sure.
as long as there's content, people will watch it.
And that's the thing, and that's what Disney tried to do, right? They just tried to give us a lot of content with Star Wars, but it just wasn't a lot of good content. Basically, like that's the thing, really. I mean, we got one good movie. Well, we got one enjoyable movie in The Force Awakens in this trilogy, but I don't know about the other two, to be honest. And even to the books, I think Disney have missed a trick with that as well. Like they've not they've got a couple of books and they've got a couple of hints to certain things. Definitely, I know in the movie about a certain battalion and fleets that were amassed by obviously Palps. Spoiler alert. But that is hinted at, and that is explained in a book called Aftermath, like a trilogy of books, and it basically, after Palpatine is dead, Empire forces are being transferred to the Outer Rim, which basically hints at how sort of Palpatine has all of that stuff in the final film, but it's in a book that wasn't really marketed or anything like that, so not many people actually realize that actually happened. So it's still rubbish to have Palpatine in the final film anyway, with no context from the first two films. Like you can't get past that, but it is hinted at in other places. It's just that Disney have done a really bad job in sort of making that clear to other people, or to their mass people anyway.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of this stuff could have been covered in The Last Jedi, you know?
It really should
But
have been. It really should
yeah,
have been.
but it just goes to show that they never had a plan. This whole trilogy was let's pass the baton from director to director. I mean, JJ wasn't even supposed to come back. So,
Yeah,
I
of
mean,
course.
Ryan Johnson was supposed to direct this one. No, Chris Terrio was originally.
Yeah,
And then
crypto.
when he left, they offered it to Ryan Johnson straight away after, right around the release of The Last Jedi. And he turned it down because he wanted to make Knives Out. Brilliant movie, by the way. Just,
Oh,
yeah.
is that actually good? Okay.
What the
Okay,
hell
yeah.
was he doing with Last Jedi? But,
Yeah.
um, but yeah, I don't know. Disney and Star Wars. I mean, it's kind of gone three for two for me. I mean, when I say three for two, there are two movies I really don't like,
Yeah.
and the rest I like. Like Force Awakens, I really enjoyed. It brought back the nostalgia fest. Sure, it has its problems, but it was really enjoyable. Rogue One was fantastic. I don't give a
Oh
fuck.
yeah, yeah. I really like Rogue One.
That was like so good. And then Solo wasn't as bad as as people thought it would be. It was actually quite fun, and realistically, I wouldn't mind seeing more adventures as well and Chewie. Just so long as they don't overstep the mark and make it link with the New Hope, just keep it in that time frame and like show three distinctive adventures, and yeah.
And that's the thing, right? Just to let everyone know, like, it took you ages to get me to watch Solo because, like, the damage had already been done for me from The Last Jedi. I was not interested in watching another Star Wars film, but like, you harassed me for like a week to just take this Blu-ray to watch it, and like, basically, I did watch it in the end, and I really enjoyed Solo. That I don't find a problem with Solo at all. There are some silly bits, of course, but it is an enjoyable film. I don't
Yeah,
mind. I didn't mind watching it.
and that's the thing. I think Disney should just stick with the spin-offs. They're doing so well with the spin-offs, and with the spin-offs, it's like it's an open canvas. You're not gonna fuck up lore. You just tell the story you want to tell. I mean, The Mandalorian speaks for itself. I know we're going to talk about that later on in the feed, but
Yeah, sure.
like, if it wasn't for The Mandalorian, I'd probably be like, fuck Star Wars. You know what I mean? Like, literally, like, fuck Star Wars. Because,
I would give Rebels a strong mention in that as well. Like, Rebels, so close to after Last Jedi, like that. My interest in Star Wars would have been dead if I didn't watch Rebels. I think I would have never watched Solo if I didn't watch Rebels either. But Rebels was so good, like that saved Star Wars that year for me.
well, to be honest, Rebels was the first thing out the gate, and not a lot of people know that from Disney. And
Yeah,
I was
sure.
on it from day one. I love that show. It's an amazing show. If you haven't seen Star Wars Rebels, go check it out. It's only 4 seasons. You'll probably blitz the first season in a couple of hours in a day. And
First
yeah,
season's
it's
mad as
not very
well.
long to get through. I totally recommend it, especially if you're just getting started on Mando, because it has a few links and it's, show run by the same guy. So, yeah.
100% should see Rebels. 100%. So moving forward, what do you think about how Disney should handle? Let's say, obviously, Star Wars is competing with, let's say, MCU, maybe DC, like those type of things, and obviously they do phases. They have these phases of movies that comes out in a sort of years, like 5, 10 year plan. We know that maybe a Star Wars celebration or at the start of this year, Disney or Lucasfilm are going to announce theirs. Like, what do you think should happen?
I think Star Wars is a different kettle of fish to, say, Marvel. Marvel have a narrative that's ongoing throughout all of their movies, and it's become kind of like a soap opera now. You know what I mean? Where Feige, and the difference is Feige is the one guy steering the ship. He knows where these stories need to go. He knows point A to point B. So it's a bit of a weird one with Star Wars. I think they should just do spin-off movies and probably engage with what the fans want. I mean, straight out the gate, I know this is later on we were going to go into, but I mean, People wanted a Boba Fett movie. People wanted an Obi-Wan movie. Hell, there's loads of stuff. It's a huge universe. But at the same time, I don't think you should treat it like the MCU because, you know what I mean? We want to like something and love something and then have us miss it for a bit. I think Star Wars oversaturation as well has been a big issue as well lately with some fans. So
See, I don't think it's an oversaturation issue. Like there
bad,
has
it's
been a
just
lot.
bad movies.
Yeah, basically, there
Yeah,
has been a lot of content. I get why some people will be tired of it, but they're mainly tired of it because there's a lot of bad content. Basically, like if you got like things like Rogue One on like a year or 2 year basis, whilst getting stuff like even like the prequels on a 3 year basis, like you would like I would be licking my lips like every year, like getting some Star Wars content. Like imagine getting episode 1 and then say Mandalorian and Rogue One the next year. Like no one would have a problem with that. No one would be tired about
yeah.
that.
I guess. I think. I think like if it was a 2 year gap, sure, but every year, I think that. Do you know what I mean? I'm just looking at Solo, for example. Solo, when it was released as well, like the summertime, 6 months after Last Jedi, that film had everything against it. Do you know what I mean? Everything against it.
Yeah, sure.
One, it's not Harrison Ford, so people, Han Solo, they ain't Han Solo. Fuck that guy. Do you know what I mean? Even though the kid did really good, do you know what I mean? I was one of those people. I was like, fuck that. Do you know what I mean? Like, no, I
Yeah,
don't want to see
sure.
this
Yeah.
kid as Han Solo. But there was that. There was the fact the Last Jedi was so bad. There was. Do you know what I mean? It was in the summer, so there was other films that were better than it that people were looking forward to. So do you know what I mean? I think they need to take a step back from the every year thing, kind of like how they did with this movie. So certain people can miss the IP a little, just that little bit, because we want to be hungry, and then when they bring it, they serve it on a dish, and it's great. Do you know what I mean? And
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
if it's great. But do you know what I mean? Like, I think the Netflix shows are killing it, though. Not Netflix, Disney Plus shows are killing it because, like I said, Mandalorian was fantastic. So, you know what I mean? It'll be
Yeah.
interesting to see what they do
Why
with
don't
the
we
other
talk
stuff
about the
as well.
Mandalorian right now? Why don't we talk about that? So yeah, of course, it's complete. Season 1, should I say, is complete. Um, I thought it was very good. I did think in the middle it sort of it. I was confused as to where it was going slightly, but by the end, obviously, when all the characters, like the main characters from the episodes, come together in the last 2 episodes. I thought it was really fun from start to finish, and I really liked the ending. It made me want to see more, but it was like a satisfying ending for that season. I did actually think the Mandalorian had a lot of character progression as well. So all in all, I really liked it. What did you think about it?
I think it's the best thing ever on TV, man. I fucking loved it, man. It was like crack for me, man. I had to see the next one. I had to see the next one. I had to let know everyone else to go see it as well. Seriously, it was just so damn good. I do see what people's concerns with the filler episodes, but if you know anything about Dave Filoni, who's the showrunner, those filler episodes aren't filler episodes. You'll find out a lot of little things will come into fruition later on in the season and definitely the next season that comes through. I think there was only one story thread where it's like, okay, that was a bit left field, but it was a good episode. I'm
Yeah,
talking about the prison episode,
yeah,
with the Motley Crew that they have, and you got Bill Burr in there and stuff. And I thought that it was a great episode, but it was like contained. But I think those characters are going to come back and play a bigger role in the series later on. Because if, like I said, if you watch Rebels had some episodes where you thought were filler, and
for
then
sure,
it
for
wasn't
sure.
until later on, if you stuck with it, it was all part of the plan. Especially, a lot of it doesn't pay off until the final episode. If you want to see how to do a final end to a saga, watch fucking Star Wars Rebels final episode, man. That fucking oh man, thinking about it is better than the damn movie that just come out.
I really wish I could watch that again. To be honest, from a fresh perspective, like that. Yeah, that would be so cool. Um, But what are your hopes for season two? I made like a review video where I said basically that I want a time skip to happen, basically. But like interestingly, there's if you check the databank entry for Yoda, his species is unknown. But he like so basically, I was trying to find how fast his species age, basically, because either if the child is Baby Yoda, then like he would either be given accelerated aging or he wouldn't, or he'd have slow aging. I don't know, maybe they would do that. I know at Camino you can sort of do those sorts of things to age, but if they made it normal, if they made his aging acceleration normal, then yeah, you would just look at Yoda's sort of species and how they would age. But yeah, his species is unknown in the data banks, so that's an issue.
I kind of want them to keep it unknown. To be honest, George didn't label it. I don't think Disney had the right to label it. I just think sometimes you need to keep something mysterious. You know what I mean? And I don't know about a time jump. I think I love the lone wolf and cub element to this whole thing, man. It kind of brings humanity to Mando, and I don't know, man. Maybe I mean I'm not going to put it against it because it could work. I mean, look at Groot and Guardians of the Galaxy, but
Yeah.
do you know what I mean?
Well,
That's
yeah,
probably a bad example,
I'm
but
I'm
yeah,
looking at it like this. Basically, you still get to keep that if you get the time skip because
yeah.
The Baby Yoda wouldn't be trained as a Jedi.
Oh yeah, of course.
So he would have this raw force power stuff. So I'm thinking like Mando would just use him on his bounties in the future,
Yeah,
which would be nice to see. Basically, it would be nice to be like training Baby Yoda as a bounty hunter. Like I would love to see that a force using bounty hunter would be really really nice, especially as it's Yoda's species or Yoda
yeah.
himself. I don't even
I
know.
mean, to be honest, I think the show has like scope to bring in stuff into live action. For example, we had Lothcats in there and stuff like that from Rebels.
Yeah, that was so cool.
Um, I personally, not spoiling anything. Well, try not to spoil anything. But if you know who Bo Katan is, all
Mm.
right, I'm not going to say what happens in the thing, but I would really love her to show up because she's a Mandalorian. When we last left her in Rebels, she basically was the leader, bringing all the clans together and stuff.
And that,
So catching up with her character would be quite cool.
and this is the
Uh,
thing, right? Just to interrupt you, just to say this. The thing with that is that the end of Rebels must be very, very close to the Purge of Mandalore. Because the
yeah,
Mandalorian was a kid then. So there's
yeah,
been a time skip. It's from the Purge of Mandalore to the end of the Return of the Jedi, obviously, where this takes
yeah.
place. So yeah, there's a clear indication that well, obviously spoiling the end of the Mandalorian, but that Gideon
Oh, don't bring that up. No, just don't bring that up. No,
oh
don't.
yeah, sorry. I guess we're in
Yeah, no.
England, so like most of the population still hasn't seen
Yeah,
this because they're unable to, which
yeah,
so
that's right.
sucks, man.
Let's not go there, man. Let's let them savor it. I'm just saying there's certain heads that I'd like to see live action. She'd be one of them because she's Mandalorian and her importance and
Yeah,
like all,
sure, sure.
you know what I mean? Like you said with like the Purge as well, like seeing
Yeah,
where she is from that. And you know, a strong female character, Disney. Why aren't you using it? Oh, wait, because you didn't know you had it.
yeah. They just like using Mary Sue's instead.
Yeah, but I mean, and the other thing, the other person, man, bring in Boba.
See,
Bring
is
in
he
Boba.
actually still alive, or
No one
was that
knows.
extended universe?
He's still miscellaneous. You know what? I would love him just to show up and he's just like the Boba Fett. What's it? Sarlacc found me indigestible, like he does in the Dark Empire comic.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, because in Dark Empire they're on Nar Shaddaa and Han Solo's there, and then fucking
Yeah,
Boba Fett just
that's
comes in
awesome.
and he's like, "Yeah, man, like, come on, man, you can't kill me."
That would be interesting. Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't mind returning characters for TV series and stuff like that. You can get away with a lot more in TV series than you can get away with film canon, basically. But I would like to see that. I would like to see, as you said, Bo-Katan. I'd like to see her come back for sure. That would be cool. But yeah, I don't want to spoil it anymore. So we can move on to the other, obviously, Deborah Chow's Obi-Wan TV series. Deborah Chow directing it. What do you think of it?
And you know what? She has my blessing because she put the two best episodes of Mandalorian. She whooped out
100%.
episode 3, where this is the way,
This is the
and
way.
and the one before the Taika Waititi finale. So yeah, she worked out some good fucking skills there, man. And she's doing Obi-Wan. Yeah, sign me up, man. What would I want to see about Obi-Wan? I think Obi-Wan would have a really good way to set up certain stuff that wasn't shown in the prequels or the Clone Wars. For me, I'd like to see Bail Bail Organa give Obi-Wan the quest that during the Clone Wars, like you could have like an episode where it's a flashback and it's a Clone War episode in live action with him and Hayden Christensen, and then have like little flashbacks to that mission throughout, have him suffer from PTSD from the Clone Wars and stuff, and have him go on the
Yeah.
current mission. I mean, like I think there's so much scope they could do with this series. I hope they do that, but that's my one wish, like taking it back to the a prequel era standalone episode where it kind of gives the fans that were butthurt by the prequels like a little bit of, oh man, that's actually pretty cool, you know what I mean, in what they did. So
Yeah. I
yeah.
mean, there's rumors that they're in talks with Liam Neeson to play the Force Ghost of Qui-Gon, obviously. And
Liam Neeson will do all the Star Wars.
I love Liam Neeson.
Yeah, yeah, he of course he's down for that. He's always said if they need him, they got his number and stuff. I mean, he's like one of the hardest working actors today. So yeah, fuck
Yeah,
it, man.
he's brilliant. I'd like to see him back. And obviously, there's Kid Luke Skywalker. It's apparently going to be in
Yeah,
it as well.
I feel they would have to do that because you'd have to see the rift between Kenobi and Uncle Owen. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Because
sure.
like obviously he just gave like him and Baru like their child, so they must be all right with that. And then obviously when it comes to episode 4, he's just a crazy old
Yeah,
man.
crazy
Get
old
away
man.
from
Yeah.
him. So like why? And obviously like Luke's existence is in danger. So you know what I mean? How does that play and stuff? So be interested to see what they do, man. I think it's got a lot of scope as a series, and I actually prefer it as a series than a movie. To be fair,
Yeah, yeah. I think as a movie, it makes sense, but I do think uh, like I feel that TV series should sort of we could go like way further back in time, way further forward in time. I know that there's not leaks but rumors that there are talks to do maybe the High Republic era where the rule of the two was born with the Sith. So yeah, just huge Jedi Civil War stuff basically, which would be nice. But I would like to see that as a TV series more than a movie. I think.
and that brings me to one of my points. If that's like a totally made up thing, I'd be a bit. Uh, Personally, I'd want to see Tales of the Jedi, where you have it in that era. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Just
sure.
before Knights of the Old Republic, and as each seasons of Tale, because with Tales of the Jedi, if you ever read that series, man, it's so fucking good and so fucking epic, and it goes through everything like the Sith, the Jedi, everything. It's got different fractions, and it's before the Ruler Two, or or that master could only have one apprentice. You know,
Yeah,
back
it's
in day, a master could have loads of apprentices and stuff. So I think if they did that as a TV show, and then probably layer in what you're saying into it with those characters that are already written, that are already out there. And do you know what I mean? They could milk that for like 8, 9 seasons worth easily. That could be a decade of Star Wars of just pure goodness.
yeah, and sure. And I believe Tales of the Jedi as well is set before the Jedi Order scene in the Phantom Menace, right? So it's not that same ideal. Well, obviously it's near enough the same, but obviously the different Jedi councils have sort
Yeah,
of
that's
different set of
correct. I
rules.
mean, like it's set before um, Old Republic, so you could do this as the TV show. And hey, Lucasfilm, listen, Old Republic trilogy, make it happen. You know what I mean?
It's
That
so
could be the
easy to
movie
do.
version, huh?
It would be so easy to do,
I
like
know, but
really, really easy.
it's a bit too easy for them, you know.
Yeah, you got that right. You got that right for sure. But yeah, no, yeah, I would really like a High Republic, Old Republic. I would even like a New Republic where you just set it maybe like 500 years post Return of the Jedi. I'm not saying Rise of Skywalker, I'm saying Return of the Jedi. And then you just do like something like new with new people, no Skywalkers, maybe a distant relative of the Skywalker. You could do that, like you can get away with that, but it's not necessary. Basically, it's not necessary to keep covering Skywalkers or to drag more people in the mud, more people's name in the mud, as it were. So yeah, I think that's most of what I want to talk about Star Wars. So let's talk about something else. Have you seen The Witcher on Netflix?
I have never seen The Witcher. My brother's actually watching it downstairs right now as we speak.
Oh,
And I've
okay.
never played The Witcher. I've never played it. I first heard of it from my buddy Travis. He used to play that all the time. And my brother has been playing it on the Switch like throughout the whole of Christmas. So he's like, my brother's like become well versed in The Witcher all of a sudden. So, but my boy Travis, who's a good friend of mine, he loves The Witcher. He's read all the books. He's played all the games. He loves the series. He's loving it. And you know what? Big shout out to Henry Cavill, man.
Yeah, sure, sure,
Henry
sure.
Cavill. Henry Cavill's a cool fucking guy, man. Some guy tried to call him out because basically he loved the game. He loved the game. He didn't know there were books. He's a
Yeah, yeah,
gamer.
yeah.
He's a gamer. He played all three of those games, and he basically made that series happen. Basically, he was like, "I don't care. I'm that guy. Okay, I'm Superman. I want to be that guy." And then he auditioned, and they still looked at 400 people or 200 people before they called him back, man, just to see. Do you know what I mean? But I think he was that enthusiastic to play the role. And when you've got someone as talented as Henry Cavill, you'd be stupid enough not to pass that by. And second of all, like he speaks so passionately as a fan. I ain't ever played the game, but you know what? He's a good salesman. But
Yeah, no, he
but
is. Yeah.
but you know, he was on some TV show, and the host was like, "Oh, so you're a gamer?" And he's like looking at him like, "But you don't look like a gamer." And the guy was like, obviously, motherfucker never played a video game in his life or knows like anything about gaming culture, but he was trying to play it off as a diss. And fucking Henry Cavill stood up for everyone. He was like, "Well, no, gamers don't all look like nerdy guys in their basement. Sometimes they can be chiseled like Superman." I was just like, "Yes." I was like, "Yes, Henry, you're a bad man." And then the other thing, someone was talking about like talking up to him about the whole DC thing, and he goes, "Don't you hate what was it? Don't you hate toxic fanboys?" You know what he turned around? He said, "No, they have every right to be because they pay the money on all the merchandise. They make it happen." And he turned around. He also says, and to call them toxic, that's not true. They're just passionate about what they love. And you know, just like how we just talked about Star Wars, we're very passionate about Star Wars, and we're talking about stuff we love, hence the podcast. But do you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah,
and
yeah, definitely.
I was just like, Henry Cavill gave the best response any motherfucker has given without slagging off anybody. And love, you know what? I may not have been a big fan of the DCU, but I liked Man of Steel. I didn't love it. Chris Reeves is always my Superman, but you know what? He's earned a place. He's earned a place. And you know what? Those films were never his fault. Him and
No, no,
Affleck,
no.
they were great. They
Yeah,
were great. All the actors were great. It's just the shit they were given with. But that's another subject for another time.
that's just Hollywood in general right
Yeah.
now. To be honest,
Oh yeah,
like
definitely, man.
you can only
It's
you
always
can
some
only
guy
yeah
that
you,
don't know what they're doing with the IP.
yeah, exactly. And you can only work with the script that you're given as an actor. Like people bash like actors like John Boyega, like Daisy Ridley as well. Thinking about Star Wars again, they bash those type of actors for their performances, but it's like, have you read the script that they're given? Like, what do you expect them to do? Like, really?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, an actor's performance is as good. You used to be an actor yourself, and I've directed short films and
Yeah,
stuff. And one thing I've noticed, an actor's performance is as good as the material that they're reading from and how they're directed.
one hundred
So,
percent.
like, and this isn't a diss on George Lucas at all. Going swinging back to Star Wars, the prequels were forever like yo the acting and stuff. Now that's no fault. That's the fault of George, and fair enough. He knows it. He's put his hand on his heart and said, "Fair dues."
Yeah, he
Respect
got
to George.
he
You
definitely
know,
directed them to act the way they did. But
yeah,
I understand why he did it. To be honest, like
yeah.
if you think
And
about the Jedi
it's
population at
like
that time.
it's hard for an actor, man. You know what I mean? It's very hard, and it takes a Liam Neeson because Liam Neeson, I felt him and Samuel really, you know what I mean? Like they weren't wooden because they are Samuel and Samuel Jackson and they are Liam Neeson. It's not their first rodeo, but you get new talents like a Boyega, like a Daisy Ridley, and put them in a scene and stuff. Sometimes something might not fly as well-rounded. You know what I mean? And it's not their fault. It's just what they're given.
But I will say, in response to Liam Neeson and Samuel L. Jackson, they basically played Jedi who had big personalities, anyways. Like basically, you had Mace Windu who basically had his lightsaber technique called on dark side powers, for instance, and then obviously you have Qui-Gon who never followed the Jedi way to a T. He did his own things when it needed to. Like he just followed his instinct and the Force rather than follow the Council. So like, Liam Neeson, obviously Samuel, they did act it pretty well as well, but they were given. Like, for instance, Ewan McGregor was given Obi-Wan Kenobi, who is by and by a Jedi. Like, he is, like, by the book a Jedi. So he's just emotionless throughout the whole thing. But that's because the Jedi way is to be emotionless, if you know what I mean. But I still think Ewan McGregor was really good at Obi-Wan as well. So it has that thing where the prequels, it's like, I honestly believe that they were all told to act this emotionless way, the Jedi mostly, and then
Oh yeah,
you've
of
got
course,
the royal
man.
family
Of
as
course.
well.
Of course, that's without a doubt, man. I mean, you know, a Jedi's not supposed to have a shred of emotion, as like Yoda says in like episode 2.
Yeah, of course. And like they bash Anakin for showing any sort of emotion throughout the whole of the trilogy. If he shows any little emotion at all, he gets bashed by the Jedi Council. So, I mean, maybe they are bad actors. Maybe they were directed that way, but the original trilogy does get bashed, and there are reasons, like rightful reasons for it to be bashed for sure. So, yeah. The Witcher, though, I think it's nice that we're getting more sort of video game adaptations. They're not always great. I ain't saying they are, but it's just nice that video games are sort of breaking that mold of just adapting to TV series or film quite easily nowadays.
Well, that's just it. I don't think Netflix thought this would be anything originally. They really didn't. They didn't put a lot of episodes out. The producer was saying that they were a low-key show, and Netflix just thought, oh well, it'll probably get a buzz because of Henry Cavill, and that's it.
Yeah,
But all the gamers united and watched for the shit out of Witcher,
yeah,
and
it's
and
highly
Henry
rated.
Cavill's star power just really transcended there, man. So it's now like the number one show on Netflix. Like everyone's talking about that and Mandalorian at the moment, and yeah, man. Netflix. Netflix have now commissioned a second season. They're going to be
Nice,
spending
nice.
big bucks on this show.
Yeah, sure, for sure. Speaking of Netflix, and speaking of big views and big shows on Netflix, what do you think? Tomorrow is the day that Power comes back. Do you watch Power? Don't tell me
I
you don't watch
don't,
Power.
man. I've never
Oh,
seen Tower, my friend.
mate.
I've heard good things though. It's on my list of like shows I need to check out. But dude, you've gone on about it for ages, and I've got you to watch it, so I feel I need
Yeah.
to do this one.
Yeah, no, definitely. Trust me. Watch Power. I'm not going to talk about it anymore. But everyone knows it's going down. It's out tomorrow. It's going to be sick. But yeah, you need to watch Power. I think it's out today in America, actually, to be honest. But yeah, no, yeah, it should be really good. It should be really good. Half season. So we can move on to the report. I think it came out yesterday that the Marvel Studios have now got the rights for Hulk and Nomar. Do you think there could be a Hulk Nomar sort of verse movie, team up movie?
Hulk and Namor. I mean, Namor. To be honest, now they got Fantastic Four. I feel that the best way to introduce Namor is probably in the second Fantastic Four film. To be honest, or a Fantastic Four film, and have him as a bad guy because he was originally their bad guy. I mean, they could do fan fresh. You know what I mean? Completely fresh with this character. I mean, hell, or they could introduce him in an Avengers movie. But considering that the core Avengers aren't there, I'd much rather see it as a fan for, introduction. I don't think Namor would get a movie because of Aquaman, but then you never know. The character might transcend across the fandom where people are clamoring for a Namor movie, just like how Black Widow, for years everyone wanted one, and now we're finally getting one. And the only reason why we hadn't get one is because they wanted to focus on the key story. And I think whether this is a true report, because it's still at a rumor stage. I haven't seen it in the Hollywood Reporter or Variety. If you know anything, guys, if you're following movie news, if it's not in the Hollywood Reporter and if it's not reported in Variety, then chances are it's bullshit and it's just fan speculation and stuff. If it's on a site like We Got This Covered, no.
No. Don't listen to Screen Rant or anything like that, guys.
Screen Rant are okay.
They're all right. They're all right. But I mean,
they're all right.
They throw a lot of.
If I was to go from the spectrum of legit to dude in his basement, I've just did it with those two. That's the spectrum right there. We got this covered now. Oh, fuck it. I'll out them now. I don't give a fuck who runs that fucking site. But I'm telling you, man, they chat shit every day and millions of people fall for it as well, man. And it just drives me fucking insane, man. They're always like, our sources. It's like, well, what sources? You know what I mean? Where did you hear this from?
Mike Zero, probably.
Yeah, Mike Zero. Oh, God. But yeah, it's crazy, man. But, it's like the stuff we just talked about just now. We confirmed that it was a Reddit source and that, take it with a pinch of salt.
Yeah.
This may or may not be true. Do you know what I mean? But like these guys, they're like, no, we have sources. Fred from the coffee room said.
Everyone's just trying to get them clicks in it. Get that.
Yeah, totally, man.
Get that bread on the table, man.
But hey, if it works to man's making money, good on you, son. Good on you, son. I don't know who runs We Got This Covered, but come on, man. Every time I click and it's We Got This Covered, I cry a bit inside.
That's what I mean. Like, Mike Zero is making money, man. Mike Zero is making
of course he is.
Mike
Zero is making shitload of money.
And he gets the source that just tells him bogus stuff. Like, he's running stuff like Keanu Reeves and Charlize Theron are in talks for the next Star Wars trilogy, apparently.
Oh, get the fuck out. Seriously? Is that a thing?
That's what he's saying. I've not read it anywhere. But that's what he's saying. So
Keanu Reeves and
Charlize Theron.
Wow. Yeah, man's got the Matrix to deal with. So
exactly.
They're gearing up on a Matrix trilogy. Everyone's back. So you know what? I don't see him filming those Star Wars in probably 10 years. Man.
Yeah, his schedule is fully booked. He's still got John Wick films to come as well.
He's got John Wick chapter 1000, and you know what I mean. Like, it's crazy, man. And like, who knows if Bill and Ted like makes the mad monies? I think they're just doing it to complete the trilogy. But if Bill and Ted makes mad monies, the studio is going to want more of them. So you know what I mean? Like,
sure.
But yeah.
It's a weird situation. But yeah, we can move on from that. Did you watch the New Mutants trailer? New Mutants.
Okay. I'm all over the New Mutants. Okay, when I say that, like, all right. Here's the thing. Okay, this is the thing about after Deadpool 1 and Logan made all the mad monies for Fox. Josh Boone got permission from Fox to make a New Mutants movie. Okay,
2015, right?
Yeah, 2015. So this is years and years and years ago. They for the next New Mutants films, if it makes all the mad money, they got to recast because those kids aren't teenagers anymore. So, like, but that's how long this movie's been in production. Hell, but you know what? The thing was, he got to make the movie the way he wanted it, and he got to make an R-rated movie. Now, what happened was. He had, if you know anything about New Mutants and stuff, he had the character of Demon Bear as the main villain, and he was going to do the original Demon Bear storyline from the comics. And mate. And the other thing, he's quite passionate about X-Men and stuff, and he showed animatic of a sequence of Demon Bear unleashing, and I was like, oh my god, you totally get this. I can't wait for this movie. And this is off the animatic, showing a sequence from a movie of how Demon Bear is going to roll, and I was just like, oh man, this guy knows what he's talking about. He's saying all the bells and whistles I need to hear. And then, Fox then decide they want to make it a 12A and reshoot and redo shit and meddle with his thing. So, and then it just got put on the back burner because the thing is they wanted it to have a huge connection to Foxmen,
Yeah.
to the Foxmen.
Yeah, they did. Yeah.
X-Men, my version of what I call X-Men.
Yeah.
But they
Yeah.
wanted a huge connection to Foxmen, whereas this thing was its own thing. It was a horror mutant tale in, their Marvel universe, etc. But there was no cameos and stuff like that to X-Men, and he didn't want it to be a 12A, and he was ejected off the project. Josh Boone was ejected off the project, and Fox were meddling with it. This is a true tale. And then they were going to bring it out. They were going to do reshoots, and they were going to bring it out. Last year, they put the trailer out saying it's coming, and it never came. And then recently, I do believe yesterday, I think information, it's going to be 12A. It's going to be 12A, but Josh Boone is fully in control of it. So he gets to make a movie that he wants. There probably will be an 18 rated cut, but there's not going to be reshoots for what Fox had in mind. So they're not going to change the story up and stuff. Obviously, making it a 12A is kind of a bit bad, but at the same time, to the general masses, they wouldn't know the difference. But as long as Josh Boone's back in control, which it looks like he is, he's come to a compromise with Kevin Feige and Disney, because I think what it is, I think maybe Feige liked what he shot, and maybe he wants to incorporate them into the MCU. That's a possibility. But either way, we're getting a Josh Boone cut, and chances are, because it's free, because you got to understand, this movie was shot, it was made. Okay, we'll probably get an R-rated special edition. So I personally want to see this film because I think it can be like really good. By what I've seen, I'm excited. The cast they've got for the mutants, I'm like, okay, I want to see this flavor of X-Men. You know what I mean? And now that it's not connected to Foxmen, I'll give it a go because Deadpool turned out fantastic. So yeah, we'll see.
Yeah. I'm ready for it. I'm really sad that it's going to be a 12 because I thought with the success of Logan, well, I guess it was Fox and not Disney that own it now. So obviously there would have been age restrictions made once it got onto Disney's hands. I don't know what Disney are going to do with Deadpool. Like Deadpool makes too much money that they have to do it again, I guess. And obviously Ryan Reynolds is a big pull for people, so like it's sort of a guaranteed sort of winner. So I'll be very interested in what they see going forward with R-rated action films that still have a big following. I worry after they changed New Mutants, should I say? I worry about that.
Yeah, I guess. With Deadpool, Ryan Reynolds and the writers of Deadpool, they're working with Kevin Feige and Disney on Deadpool 3. They've confirmed that it is part of the MCU now and stuff. How they're going to incorporate that? Well, mind you, I guess Deadpool 2 is the ultimate outage. He's got the watch. He's time traveling and doing all kinds of crazy stuff. So who knows, man? Who knows? Maybe Deadpool can fix the Fox universe. I don't know, man. Well, he was doing that anyway at the end of Deadpool 2.
Yeah, he was. Yeah, he really was.
But you know what I mean. Like it. We'll have to see what they do. I have full confidence in Ryan Reynolds and Kevin Feige and the fact that they've kept him as Deadpool. Because could you imagine if they recasted?
Oh, wow.
There would be an uproar.
Yeah,
there would be an uproar.
I wouldn't watch it.
Yeah, exactly. So I think Ryan Reynolds is Deadpool for life now. And you know what? I think Ryan Reynolds, he stuck with that role for a real long time.
He really did. He
For a
really do.
real long time, even in the dark ages and stuff, and how they got that movie made, man, it's amazing, man. So I hope Deadpool 3 delivers. I hope it's as good as it can be. If it's a 12A, I still hope it makes me laugh. Okay,
Yeah,
at
yeah, it
least
has
because
to.
ideally a good movie's a good movie. Sure, it'll be a bummer if it's not an 18, but we'll see. But I trust the writers of Deadpool. And have you seen Six Underground?
No, I haven't. I haven't.
Okay,
Oh no, on
Six,
Netflix. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I
yeah,
have seen that. I have seen it. Yeah, yeah, yeah. But my
same
girlfriend
guys.
was watching it, and basically, I wasn't watching it at first. But then
Yeah,
I was like, I turned. I was like, wow, this is actually a sick film. I didn't actually
yeah.
realize
So
Ryan Reynolds was in it.
they're a team. They're a unit. Do you know what I mean? They're a unit. Ryan Reynolds and those two guys.
Yeah,
I haven't seen Zombieland 2. Maybe Ryan Reynolds makes a cameo. I don't know. No one spoil it for me, but I ain't seen it. But that's on my list this week to watch. But yeah, man, they've done a good job with the franchise so far. So hopefully it works out.
yeah, yeah. I'm very interested in the next Deadpool film and in Marvel in general. What do you think about this next phase for Marvel? It doesn't seem to be heavy with movies. Seems to be a lot of shows there.
I think this is a I think this is a very experimental time for Marvel because they know what they've got, what they haven't got, what they can do, what they shouldn't do, and more importantly, they know their fans. Again, they've got to work with a conglomerate like Disney that probably have an agenda and stuff. Well, does have an agenda and stuff, and want to push like LBGT. Sorry, guys, I'm getting your community messed up here. That's no disrespect. Don't put me on hate forums and stuff. I'm just bad at letters and stuff, and I will learn it. And sorry for my ignorance. I feel I have to do that, man.
Yeah, no,
But
you have to.
I
But
think they
it's
are
LGBT.
LGBT. Okay,
Yeah,
LGBT. Man, I'm hungry. Sounds like a bacon burger or something.
it really sounds tasty, man.
But yeah, now that was a joke. That was a joke, guys. But look, LGBT guys, I think they're totally catering for that community, and I've got not a problem with that because they're using IPs like the externals to do it. General people never read that book. I haven't read that book. And I've
Neither have I.
collected Marvel comics for years, and okay, fair enough. There's probably going to be diehard fanboys that will be like, oh, that guy's a guy, or that guy's this, or whatnot. But these characters are untested characters for a movie audience, and Feige's very, very smart in using this as the launchpad for that, because I think if he'd done that to an established character like I don't know, like Iron Man or like Thor, or you know what I mean, it'd be like people go nuts. But I think with the Thor thing, because obviously Jane Foster is going to be like a Lady Thor or have the power of Thor, I don't think she's going to be called Lady Thor. I think because logic says that that's not her name, she's still Jane Foster. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I
yeah,
think that's the way they're going to go, and they know. They know. And if anything, they're just going to be, it'll be a joke. It'll be a joke. They'll probably play it off as a joke. Maybe she says she's Lady Thor, and maybe Chris Helmsworth's like, "Oh no, you're not. No, you're not. You're Jane Foster." You know what I mean?
yeah.
I
Sure,
can see
sure.
the joke already, and that I'm fine with that because Taika Waititi makes fantastic films. So, I think they were smart in bringing him back to make a joke out of it. You know what I mean? Obviously, it's
Yeah,
still going to piss off people that don't like that storyline in the comic, but this is their we're going to scratch your back to Disney to keep Uncle Bob happy. You know what I mean? Because by the time this phase is done, they, we're going back into the stuff we love, and they're not going to fuck that up. You know,
yeah. Sure, sure.
because once he's made all the millions off of these films, and he will. I've stopped trying to second guess Kevin Feige and the team at Marvel Studios. They're $1 billion movie. It'll take someone like Ryan Johnson to fuck that up. But like, I have faith. I have faith. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not excited about a lot of the IPs that they're bringing out, except for Black Widow. Black Widow. When I
Yeah.
saw the trailer, I was like, I'm in, even though she's wearing that MGS 3 suit of Big Boss. But
Mate, she
you know what
landed
I
on
mean?
the bridge like the boss as well. Like as soon as I
Yeah,
saw like the MGS3 like
yeah,
imagery, I was just like, yeah, I'm sold on this. I'll watch this.
yeah. But Scarlett Johansson, she deserves the film. She's more than proved herself. And again, it's a prequel. It's not set after Infinity War. And again, it kind of builds more momentum to my point because the Externals is set well before any of this because it's in a different galaxy and stuff. So it would be the first Marvel movie because it's showing more the cosmic side. So they're placing all these balls like it's like Star Wars. They're expanding the universe rather than the normal narrative. And the only two characters that are going to push the character forward is Spider-Man and maybe Doctor Strange. But then I see Doctor Strange as, because it's dealing with the multiverse, they're going to do some crazy stuff from that. And they've already hinted we're going to get a lot of new characters that are well-known characters coming in that movie. So I'm kind of interested to see what they do, man.
Yeah, I mean, I'm
And I'm
interested.
not even a Doctor Strange fan. I hate Doctor Strange. I know there's a lot of Doctor Strange fans. Yeah, don't get me wrong, but he's just never been my guy ever. I'm like Tony Stark in Avengers. I'm like, what's with the wizard, man? Fuck this guy. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Uh,
literally.
I didn't even like the movie, but I can see it was a well-made movie, and I could see people love it. But it's just not for me. But do you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, I'm not a fan of Doctor Strange as well. I
yeah.
mean, I've
So
gone.
So yeah, but Spider-Man, Tom Holland and Spider-Man, man, they can make as many of those as they want so long as it's connected and they don't fuck it up. But yeah, Sony, I'm talking to you and not Marvel. But yeah,
Evil Sony. But yeah, no, yeah, I, I'm of the opinion that I always say this. I always think the cosmic side should have started, and I'm talking about Thanos. I don't think he should have came yet. I think what should have happened is you have another generation of Avengers, not a hard reboot. You have a soft reboot, just like you have in the comics, basically. Avengers of a different generation. And then what you can do when the Thanos time come, you could have had like how they did it in X-Men, right? Where you have the future X-Men team and you have the present. Sorry, you have the past X-Men team and you have the present X-Men team.
man, I really wished Fox had left it at that movie because that movie was so dope.
Yeah, yeah.
It
Days
was
of
really
Future
good.
Past was really good. Yeah.
Fair enough, they made Hugh Jackman like the lead again off the X-Men, but like, well, it should have been Kitty Pryde. But I'm just saying.
Yeah,
But
100%.
aside from that, I really enjoyed it, and I thought it was a fitting end to that saga, if that makes sense. And then like Apocalypse and fucking Dark Phoenix happened. I was like, oh Jesus.
And it's a very comic book way of doing things, obviously, because you have different versions and different editions of things. So, like for instance, you have the Astonishing Spider-Man, and then you have Spectacular Spider-Man, and you have the Amazing Spider-Man, and then you have like stuff like that, right? So that you have like different Ultimate Spider-Man as well would be one as well. So you have different sides, like Spider-Man in a different style, Peter Parker in a different style, and a sort of different universe almost at times as well. But then you can interchange them as well. Like so, say the Spider-Man, the animated film, what's it called again?
Into the Spider-Verse.
Yeah, that's it.
Great
Spider
movie.
Verse. Yeah. So you have all of these different Peter Parkers or different Spider Men converging in one place, in one realm, and they have to get back to their own universe and stuff like that. So it's like you can do that in movies. It hasn't been done yet. Well, actually, no, it has been done. It's done in X-Men only so far, but it happens a lot in Avengers in the comics, and I'd love to see that. And Thanos' story, it happens in the comics as well, in Thanos' story as well. But because obviously we've only had one cast of Avengers, so you can't really do that then. But if they would have left it after the reboot, or pseudo reboot, should I say, then it would have been like really really nice. But I do like how Marvel have done the last phase, the phase that just ended. I really like it. The new phase does look a bit threadbare though, but yeah, interested to see what happens basically.
Yeah, I mean, like back onto Spider-Man. I'm a huge Spider-Man fan. So are you. What do you think when you heard that like Sony had the rights again and like Disney weren't going to do it for a bit? What was going through?
Uncontroversial, uncontroversial? A controversial opinion, should I say, is I was actually really happy that Sony were taking it back. And the reason why I was happy is because I like Sony. Sony has shown that if you can do something right, they will leave you to it basically, and they're like, yeah, you're making us money, so just do what you want. Disney aren't like that at all. Like Disney do like to meddle. They do like to push that certain things have to go into the product, maybe even merchandising or anything like that. So I just
Yeah, I
think,
think, to be honest, I think that's become a recent trend over the past 3 years with Disney, though. Sony meddle as well. Don't pretend, because
oh yeah,
check
of course
Joe
they do, they
Carnahan,
do, they do.
director Joe Carnahan on Twitter. That guy will out them, and that guy's the director of what did he? The A Team. He wrote a draft of this current Bad Boys. He's not the director of that,
Okay.
and yeah, they fucked his script, man.
And that's the
Every
thing.
studio does, man. Every
They
studio
every
does.
studio does, but what I
Yeah,
mean by that is like when they know they have a good product in it, they will leave it.
yeah.
They're just like, okay, yeah, this is really good. Okay,
Well,
but they do
Spider-Man
meddle.
3 kind of says
I
otherwise,
I
and
don't. I
Amazing
think
Spider-Man 2.
I think in the case of the Spider-Man films, I think they had lost confidence in like they wanted things to happen a certain way, and like obviously the director that was working with them, Sam Raimi, namely for Spider-Man 3, didn't want it to go that way, so they would like sort of like, and let's not forget, like fans were like they were like yeah, let's get Venom in, let's get Carnage, like they wanted like these villains that sort of
Yeah, that's
ultimately got
true.
into
That's true. And we gave the power to Avi Arad,
yeah,
which
yeah,
was probably a bad idea.
yeah,
Um,
but
you know what I was thinking? You know what I was thinking?
mm,
I was thinking, you know what? If I was the head of Sony and it went back, Spider-Man went back, I would have turned around to Marvel. I'd go, I would have been like, this is our plan. Like Marvel, have a plan. Um, sure, we've got our Venom 2 and all of that. But what I do, I'd announce two prequel movies set before Homecoming because the kid's young, and basically, give us a prequel Spider-Man where he's back to his roots. You know what I mean? Before
yeah.
pre-Tony Stark, introduce Harry and MJ, real Harry and MJ, and have Michelle in the background doing a stalking Peter Parker
Yeah,
thing.
sure.
You know what I mean? To make it to build the universe, and then announce. You know what I'd do? I'd announce Sam Raimi, Spider-Man 4 and 5. Get Sam Raimi and Tobey Maguire to no, hear me out. To do to do two films that wrap up all the films, and at the end of it, Peter gets married to MJ, and then I'd bring out Amazing Spider-Man 3, and I'd have my man Garfield cameo with Venom, and do all of that crazy Sony stuff they wanted to do with that franchise. And do you know why? Because all leads up to a Spider-Verse movie with all three Spider-Mans,
Oh, okay, no,
ending
okay.
ending each franchise except for the Tom Holland one, because obviously that's the MCU Spider-Man that everyone loves, but it connects everything. Every fan from each series kind of gets closure. I don't know, it was a dumb idea, but I just thought, hey, that would be cool,
That
because
would
it
be
means
cool.
it would mean they have a plan. And they could introduce Miles. Could you imagine? You could have Andrew Garfield or even Tobey Maguire playing an older Peter Parker, which is I know is what you wanted. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
And
yeah,
maybe
for
he's
sure, for
teaching,
sure.
and maybe he's teaching Miles how to be Spider-Man, or maybe that could be Garfield. Who knows? But they could do everything just so long as they keep kid Peter Parker as who's current Spider Tom Holland. They could have done all kinds of crazy stuff with that, because I think Spider Verse has kind of opened up what they can do with the character on a bigger scale. But what the fuck do I know? They're never going to do that.
Yeah, they're never gonna do it,
Yeah,
but
they're never going
I
to do that.
I would like
And
to.
the other thing is, the only person that probably wouldn't come back is Tobey Maguire, because he doesn't have to. And but then money talks. You
Oh
know what
yeah,
I mean?
100%, 100%. I
Money
think he
talks.
would come back with the right offer, and it would be nice to see. However impossible it is, but it's good that we talk about Sony because this goes into the next topic really well. So, obviously, James Bond trailer came out a couple of weeks ago. What was it called again? A Good Day to No, that's A Good Day to Die Hard.
A good time to die.
Yeah, A Good Time to Die. That's right. And we saw that it's not being published by Sony anymore. Sony Pictures.
No, no, it's the distributor is Universal,
That's
and
it.
more proof that the Broccolis don't take shit from no one. What I mean? Maybe Sony were getting a bit too, hey man, you need us and we need you, and they were like, no, we don't. No, we
Yeah.
don't. I could imagine that's how it went down, but you know what I mean? Sony served their purpose. They got all the rights for Bond under one roof. They utilized them. They moved on.
Yeah, 100%.
They
And
moved on. They moved on. They used Sony. That's that. I got to applaud them in a way because that kind of worked out, and they haven't tarnished the franchise. I thought the trailer. I thought the trailer was really good. I'm looking forward to it. Bit of a backstory. I wasn't too keen on Daniel Craig when he first started out. Um, and I really didn't like Quantum of Solace, but Skyfall is the one that hooked me in, and I've liked them since then. And yeah, I really can't wait to see this one. Obviously, they're doing a play on the current Me Too movement with Black 007, but I've got no problem with that because she's not James Bond. Okay, I got to address this because like everyone's getting all upset that oh god she can't be 007. So well yeah she can. There's been female 007s. Watch From Russia with Love. There's a whole room of 007s and there's like
yeah,
two
yeah, sure.
females there.
Yeah, yeah.
So it's like know your Bond before you like go crazy, man. Um, I've the way I see it is, you know what? Do you think it's his last?
Do you know what? I just to say, like, obviously, you said that you started liking Craig from Skyfall, right? Basically, I'm different. I liked him in Casino Royale, um, and then ever since Casino Royale, I just don't think James Bond has been written very well in any of these other movies. I think Daniel Craig is a good actor, though. He's fine, but I think in Daniel Craig's James Bond, there is a lot of pining for a love interest sort of thing that happens throughout. So you obviously from in Quantum of Solace and Casino Royale, basically he's Vesper Lind. Like the start of Casino Royale, like the first half of the film is just epic. It's just like straight James Bond, like fresh James Bond. But then obviously it turns into a love story near the end. Quantum of Solace is definitely a revenge affair because he's just pining over Vesper. And then Skyfall, Skyfall is a good film. I'm not gonna say it's not a good film, but I don't think Skyfall is a good Bond film. Like I really stand by that. And basically, instead of pining over a girlfriend, he pines over his sort of semi mother figure in M, who basically, yeah, if you've seen the film, he gets a shot. He gets shot, which was ordered, which was not ordered by, but he got shot inadvertently when M ordered a shot to be taken on a guy that he was scuffling with. So he gets depressed because M allowed the shot to happen, and I was just like, James Bond was never really this pathetic. I like James Bond as a character. I like he's not supposed to be pathetic, and I do get that you can add you can add a personality and you can add layers, but James Bond has bundles of personality already. It's just that I don't really like the direction that he's written in. Spectre is the same thing. He basically falls in love with Seydoux' character, and that sort of continues from what I've seen in the trailer. It sort of continues
Yeah, this
into
one kind
this.
of looks like their version of Majesty's Secret Service and Diamonds Are
Yeah,
Forever in one, isn't it?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
And I see people talking about Doctor No. Do you think? What's his name? Rami Malek is going to be their version of Doctor No,
I think
or
there's a strong chance. I think there's a strong chance. They've already bought back Blofeld. They've already sort of reimagined Blofeld for this. So yeah, I'm definitely sure
yeah,
Doctor No's
I think
coming.
that was kind of like a given because they didn't have the rights to Blofeld for such a long time, and now they've got him.
Yeah, yeah.
We're going back to that classic era where it's him v Blofeld. What did you think of the twist about making them stepbrothers?
I it's another thing that it's to give Bond this sort of empathy that he's like this secret assassin who was raised by like an orphan. I don't like it. I don't like it at all.
Yeah, I'm not or against it. I just want to see how it plays out personally, but I could see why people would be like, get the hell out. Because it's kind of like this is our chance to have him be like the ultimate villain, on
Yeah, yeah,
screen. But
yeah.
yeah, I like who they got though. Christoph Waltz is amazing.
Yeah, I think he's really good. I think he's really good as Blofeld. I really do think he's really good at that role. And I did like Blofeld's character in the thing. I don't think it made much sense in the context of the film to have him there, but he played him really, really well. I really like that character. What would you say would be the best Bond film that Craig's done so far.
We're gonna have to agree to disagree there. For me, it's Skyfall, man.
See,
I don't know.
I do, I would probably agree because, like, as I said, I think Skyfall is a really good film. Like, I did enjoy it, but like, if I break it down to a James Bond film, there was hardly any James Bond like sort of traditional elements in that film. There were some callbacks, but that was about it, I would say.
Yeah, I hear you. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know whether I'd agree with that. I thought it was the most Bond film out of all the Craig ones. But Royale felt a bit disjointed. Even though they adapted the novel perfectly when they got to the casino, I just felt, the first hour was just a bombastic action movie from point A to point B. And then they adapt the story and then they go back to the guns and stuff at the end, if that
Yeah,
makes sense. So it felt a
yeah,
bit disjointed as a film for me.
yeah. I got
And
what you mean.
then Quantum of Bullshit. Sorry, I didn't like that movie. It just felt like Michael Bay got his hands on James Bond, and like everything was an action scene, and it kind of played like the Fast and Furious version of James Bond. I felt,
Yeah,
and I was
it
just
was
like,
so bad. It was so
yeah,
bad.
there was no real plot to it. It was just like everything was point A to point B. There's no narrative to it, and it's like, okay, whereas Skyfall had a story, it had, you know what I mean, it had like that fantastic kind of layer. He had like a villain layer where it was the abandoned city on the island, and then you had like a disfigured Bond villain as well. And I like stuff like that because like that's classic Bond, isn't it? And I think he said "shaken not stirred" for the first time in this one. So yeah, I'm not sure,
I
but
did like it in Casino Royale when he's just like, "Do I look like I give a damn?" Like
you
that was
know
pretty
what?
cool.
That's why he signed on to be James Bond.
Is it really?
Yeah, he just said so in an interview recently.
Oh wow.
But out of interest, who is your favorite Bond?
Oh, for sure, Sean Connery. For sure. Like
Yeah,
I can still watch any of Sean Connery's Bond films today. Like they haven't even like aged that badly. They like some they just look so classical nowadays. But it's just that is standard James Bond for me. Really. Yeah, I really like Sean Connery a lot as Bond.
yeah, same here, same here. He was the best. I did enjoy Brosnan. Um,
Yeah, me too.
to
Me
be
too.
honest, I got a soft spot for Roger Moore because my mum's into him, and that was probably the first Bond I ever saw. But when I started getting into Bond, Connery was the one because he was more darker and he was more of an assassin. And I I think Dalton gets a bad rep. I
Oh,
love
I
those
love
films.
Timothy Dalton. I love
Oh, Timothy
License to
Dalton.
Kill,
I
A
think
View to a Kill.
Timothy Dalton did what Craig does first. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
The
yeah.
movie kind of he did it first, and no one acknowledges that. It really annoys me
And that's the thing.
because
He doesn't have. He still
both those
has
films are amazing.
the girl interest, but he's not so submissive to women like Daniel Craig's Bond is. That I really like Timothy Dalton's Bond actually. I really do. Really good. Wait, are you still there? Okay.
Yeah, yeah, I'm still there.
Yeah,
I'm still
yeah.
there.
So like, yeah, License to Kill, A View to a Kill as well. The View to a
Oh, Future
Kill is
Kill
just
is it?
so good, so good.
Oh, the
Love that
fight on
film.
no fight on the San Francisco Bridge with the
Yeah,
hot air balloon, and you got Chris Walken. Christopher Walken's another amazing actor who should be
yeah,
in more
he is.
stuff. I
Yeah,
know he's not because he's old, but like man, he's so good.
yeah, he's amazing, man. He's amazing. So yeah, with the Bond for the new Bond film, I'm excited though. I need to see more though. I'm not properly hyped about it just yet. I need to see more for sure, and obviously because of our current sort of film climate that we're in, where there's a lot of sort of agendas and stuff like that. I just hope MGM don't go there. They don't tend to go there, so I just hope they don't go that route, and I'll be happy.
Yeah, I don't think MGM have much of a say. The Broccolis kind of do it themselves. So
Oh yeah, of course,
anything
yeah.
will be off the guys that have ran the torch for years. You know what I mean?
Mm.
So I think, you know, bombs in safe hands. It kind of always have been. And I think the move to a different studio proves that
Yeah,
because we
sure.
live in an age of IPs where studios are after IPs, and they've just shown in this one move that they can't be bought. I hope Bob Iger takes notice because he wants to buy them, and it's like not that I don't want to see
Yeah, I
that.
really don't. I really don't know. I do not want to see Disney James Bond. No way. No, no, please, no. It can't be. But yeah, I think we've talked about everything on my list today. Um, so yeah, no, yeah, that's been brilliant. It's been a nice chat, actually. Yeah, it's been really fun, man. Do you want to plug your stuff one more
Oh
time?
yeah, sure. So if you guys want to catch me on Zedeos Gang. We used to do a podcast like about a year and a half ago. We did it for 3.5 years. We're looking to get it back up and running again. Check out some of the old videos. You might have me being very excited for Star Wars. I'm not so excited now, so bear that in mind. A lot of opinions